Hello and welcome, or welcome back if you're a returning viewer to the channel. WB here, and in this video what I want to do is show you how you can create disk encryption policies for your macOS devices inside of Microsoft Intune. Remember, I ask, if you like what you see on the channel, be sure to subscribe and click that notification bell so you're aware of all the new episodes that are coming out. Be sure to like, share, comments are always welcome, and check out that description for the link to our community Discord server so that we can keep this conversation going. All right, everybody, let's go. All right, everyone, here we are on my Windows desktop, and we're going to create a disk encryption policy for macOS devices. And one of the things you'll see here is that we're logged into the Microsoft Intune Admin Center. And to do this, we're going to go to Endpoint Security. And then in Endpoint Security, if we scroll down, you're going to see there is a couple different options under Manage. Oh, actually, quite a few options, right? Antivirus policies, disk encryption. We do have a lesson on endpoint privilege management, as well as attack surface reduction policies. So definitely take a look at those. We'll talk about some account protection policies, as well as some firewall policies in other episodes, other lessons. Check the library out because some of them by this point might already be there. So what we're going to do here is we're going to create a disk encryption policy here for macOS. All right, so we're going to choose under Manage Disk Encryption, and then we're going to select Create Policy. We can also see if we've already got policies here too. All right, let's go ahead and choose Create Policy here, and this is where we're going to select a template to build our profile from. Keep in mind, if we're doing Windows, check the library again out for Windows when we talk about BitLocker encryption versus what's known as PDE or personal data encryption. And when you select that, you get those two options. And again, check out our video on that one. In this demonstration, we're going to choose macOS, and there's only a single option here, and of course, that's going to be FileVault. When we select that, you can see that it provides, kind of like the Windows equivalent FDE or full disk encryption for macOS devices. All right, and we'll go ahead and choose Create here. And this takes us into our basic wizard where we can name our policy. I'll call this East US Mac OS devices, kind of like I do. This is my general naming convention, whether it's for a course I'm teaching or videos here on the channel. I'll go ahead and choose Next in this. And then we have our configuration settings, and I want to go ahead and zoom in here so you can see all of these. And I would really encourage you to take the time and just kind of look at some of the options, especially if you're trying to get used to this. Maybe you're implementing it in the field, or maybe you're studying for that MD 102 exam, right? So we've got a variety of different attributes that we can configure here when it comes to the payload. For FileVault, for instance, we can do deferrals. And again, I always encourage you to take the time to pause the video, or if you're doing this in a lab, take the time to actually see what each one of these settings will do. Right. So, do we want to defer? The encryption? We choose enabled. Remember, it's going to enable when the user logs out. Right. Do we want to ask the user at logout, right? Not configured. Do we want enabled or disabled? So if we choose disabled, we're not going to have any interaction with the user right at logout. So notice preventing request for enabling FileVault at user logout. And another thing that we can do if we would like to as well, right? This defer force at user login max bypass attempts. Boy, it rolls right off the tongue, right? So what does that mean if you happen to encounter it on the exam? So just think of it this way, how many times are we going to allow the user to bypass enabling FileVault at login, right? If I want to make sure that it happens at the next login, I can configure this, and I can change the value to 0. Right, and that is going to require the the enablement of FileVault at login. If I want, I can disable the feature. I can choose -1, and if I choose -1, it actually just disables this feature altogether. So I might say, okay, I'll give you three attempts, but after 3 attempts, you're going to be required to enable and encrypt your disk, right? And then again, do we want to enable FileVault? Do we want to disable FileVault? And again, keep in mind these little the little icons on here. They really help out as well too. And then, when it comes to key rotation in months, right? Do we want to define this? Maybe we do this, I don't know, quarterly, right? Every 3 months, right? And do we want to use a recovery key? And we can configure that. We can also configure the FileVault key recovery escrow payload to customize the KRK escrow settings on this device. So essentially what I can do is I can put a location and I can tell people, hey, if you end up having to use recovery here, let me see, I've got a sample here. So let me just go ahead and I'll throw this in here and kind of show you here. So what we got here is, notice the FileVault recovery key will be escrowed in the organization's secure portal for recovery assistance. Please contact the IT service desk, right? So again, this lets me give a message what the user sees, right? And again, if you hover over it, right, when they're going to be enabling FileVault and where is that recovery key going to be stored, we can put a text message in there or a message in general there as well too. Then from here we choose next. This is where we can assign our scope tags if we want to delegate administrative privileges over this profile or policy, if you will. We'll choose assignments and then add groups, and we can look at our groups, and we can find the appropriate group here. So I'm going to go ahead and assign East US macOS devices here. Again, making sure that it's in the list. We'll choose select, and if you want to, again, keep in mind you can do advanced filtering. I don't have any macOS filters, so they really shouldn't show up in the list. It's pretty good of knowing. Yeah, I have a few Windows device filters. For further targeting your profiles, but I don't have any macOS filters. Oops, and let me choose cancel. That's right. You want to, if you have to cancel out of there, don't do what I just did. Just choose do not apply the filter, and it'll actually kind of back you out of there. It's the same thing as kind of clicking cancel without having to start the wizard over. And then choose next. And then this is where we get our summary information. Keep in mind that this is the point where if you need to make any changes, you can go back and you can make changes. And we can see the assignments, for instance, as well too. So I'll go ahead and I'll choose create here, and we can see that the policy is now created here, and we can, if we want to look at it again, keep in mind that we're at endpoint security under manage disk encryption, and then we can locate the policy. And here's where we get the ability to view the device and user check-in status depending on how we have it scoped. We can view a report as well, see the device assignment status as well as the per settings status likewise too. And if we need to make any changes, we can make changes after the fact just by coming in here, viewing the properties, and clicking any one of the hyperlinks. So there you have it, everybody. That is how you can deploy an endpoint disk encryption policy for your macOS devices using the Microsoft Intune Admin Center. As always, I ask if you like what you see on the channel, be sure to subscribe, click the notification bell. Remember to like, share, comments are always welcome, and check out the description for the link to our community Discord server. And as always, thank you so much for watching.